third and final pillar that you need to have firmly grounded into your beingness in order to lead the energy, in order to lead the expansion. After you have done the work on yourself, after you've gotten honest with yourself, and put your focus on service to others, is lining up with the flow. It's enjoying, it's appreciating the flow. It's staying in reverence, it's staying in surrender to all that has already happened, how far this flow has already brought you. See how it doesn't make sense for you as a person to go and do something, go and do and serve, go and do it. See how that has never worked for you. And from there, surrender, submit, lean back, enjoy. And it's such a brilliant add to the vibration of wanting to serve others. It's such a brilliant add to this leadership thing, because you would never be as powerful as God. You would never be as powerful as the principle that has created, that has set this life up for you, and that has set up the environment around you. So you lining up with that is the smartest thing you can do if you want to have an impact, if you want to be in power, if you want to be empowered. You want to lean into that stream, you want to line up with that stream, and instead of trying to make something happen on your own, you just stay supportive to that flow, which already makes everything happen for you. So you can put attention on the previous events in your life and how that has brought you up until this point, and feel appreciative of whatever created all of this, whatever set this whole thing up for you. And look clearly at the consideration, if it has really worked for you to try to make something happen. If it has really worked for you to invent something, to come up with something, to do something, to do something from this me, from this righteousness, from this selfness. And what you most probably will find is that it hasn't really worked to do it like that. The only thing that has worked has been to relax back and be carried by the flow, which has already carried you, which is already established, already here. You don't need to do anything. You can just relax. That's the conclusion that you would come to. You have no idea how brilliantly this twists your whole vibratory field if you are leaning back and enjoying like this. Because it makes you so much less needy, so much less in the world, so much more transcendent, so much more godlike. To realize that I'm not God, I haven't done this. I want to be supportive to whatever did all of this. Makes you so much more godlike. So much more truly relaxed, truly confident. So then if you want to speak the best way to serve, if you want to speak about the most optimal way of if you get too conjured up in these active things, your mind will start to come in again and make it its own concepts. And that will now be your world of struggling and trying to figure stuff out. While when that has exhausted itself, when you have gotten to a place where you're actually kind of tired of it, it will just naturally collapse back in. And then you will see, oh, this project or this thing or this momentum was already naturally emerging. It has already been happening like that all the time. And then whenever you would see that your efforts doesn't actually help, doesn't actually get you what you want, then why not just relax and not do so much? And just do whatever you can whenever there comes up that you can be supportive of that flow. Whenever you can be of assistance to God in achieving something, whenever you can be of assistance to this higher intelligence, then of course you'll do it. Because you're grateful towards it, you're appreciative of it, you're honoring it. But otherwise, you can really just relax and enjoy the ride. It's not so much up to you as you might have been thinking. Yes, this might seem contradictory to the two last points, which is very much like take your responsibility for yourself and take the responsibility for other people, take the responsibility for the expansion. However, the best way to do that, and you will start to notice this when you bump up against the wall of this, it will just be like nothing really moves, it doesn't really move forward. Then you need more of the surrender approach, you need more of the relaxing back, and that will actually be the best way to serve. That will simultaneously as being your joy, being your relief, your release, it will be the realigning of you. You could call it many things. You could call it like divine will, you could call it the flow, you could call it the heart stream. Whatever you refer to it in your mind, this continuous stream of positive stuff that's slowly establishing and emerging, showing you that everything is perfect. What could possibly be better than to line up with that? And then instead of you leading, you know inwardly, at least inwardly, that it actually wasn't you. That the only thing you did was to do everything you can, which is not as much as your mind might think that you can. The things which feels like a struggle might be things that's not actually your task to deal with. Your task is much more intrinsic with your joy. It's much more intrinsic with what you're excited to do. What is your enjoyment. So whenever you get too caught up in the concepts, the sign of that will be that you think that you will need to do something. You think that you will need to make something happen. That you're doing something wrong, perhaps. And just give up. And see how God has been carrying you all along. How the stream has been unfolding perfectly, just underneath the surface. You just didn't pay attention to it. And can you even think about, even start to conceive about how much that flow would actually manifest for you if you would be supportive of it? If you would use your consciousness to honor it and to be of service to it, to be of aid to that flow. When it's already manifesting all this nice stuff without your assistance at all. So this is like the active principle is the service, and this is like the receptive principle, the receiving principle. And you need to play with balancing these, and you will see when it becomes too much of one, then it becomes too much of the service thing, it will like be conjured up in your mind and be too much of a struggle. When it will be too much of the surrender side of things, which is actually not surrender, by the way. And if you're doing too much of the service thing, it's not actually service, it's actually starting to get up here. It's starting to become ego again. It's starting to become about you. If it becomes too much of leaning back and relaxing, it might be that you aren't living up to the fullest that you could live. That you're playing a little small game. You might be able to step up a little bit more and manifest a bigger flow through you, through your vehicle. Thank you. Know that you can relax, that you're already carried, that everything is already good.